In our Christian walks, we deal with a lot of religious people. And I'm not talking about religious as somebody that has chosen Christianity and is devoted to God. I'm talking about those that are like Pharisees that, they tell people what they need to do and they don't do it themselves. And they lack compassion, they lack empathy to people, and all that they have before them and what's in their mind is religious rules that have not been obeyed. And that's all they see. If you're struggling with something and you're dealing with something, they refuse to see where you're coming from. They refuse to help you because, you know, they just more or less want to point out your wrongs. So basically, I wanted to speak about, an area that I'm probably sure you noticed in your own walks with these religious people. Is, you know, I, I'll give a couple of examples that I've encountered in my life. I recall when, my pastor, I heard that he was telling a story about, or somebody told me about what the pastor had to deal with. The pastor lost his pet, his dog. I guess it died of old age or whatever. And he was grieving. And he said to another brother, he said, I lost my best friend. And without empathy, this brother responds back with, God is your best friend. And, I mean, I've been trying to think of what is wrong with, the position that a believer has in this. And, it's not only stating the obvious that, yes, God is his best friend, but you're lacking the compassion, the empathy of what your brother needs. Your brother needs comfort. And instead of saying anything, why don't you just put your arm around that brother and, understand where he's coming from? And I recall another time when I was working for Domino's Pizza. And, excuse me, and, you get a lot of deliveries. I had a delivery at that time where, the bill would be like 19 and some change. And so the customer would give me $20. And that was it. And I guess the rest was for a tip. So, I laugh about it. And I laughed about it at that time. And I made a couple of memes regarding that. And this sister says in response, without empathy, she says, God is your provider. Of course God is my provider. I know that. You're not telling me something new. But what I am stating here is the fact that you have somebody out here that's bringing your food to you, using up their own gas, and you can't bless them in the way of a tip, something that would at least cover the gas, a couple of dollars over the amount that you're paying. I mean, it's not like we went to Domino's and had them fill our gas tanks up. They don't have gas tanks there. We got to use our own money. And of course, now, making sure I'm still connected. Of course, now working for, Uber Eats and sometimes DoorDash, we're not compensated for the gas usage. And unless I'm out there constantly, working for hours, I'm more or less working just to work. I don't I don't make enough to even make over the amount of putting gas in. So it's kind of hard when to accept deliveries that are like $2 to $3. You know, but getting back to the point that you have believers out there that are stating the obvious, apart from compassion, apart from empathy. You know, why don't you see where your brother and sister is coming from instead of saying anything? I was always told that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. You know? So, you may have encountered the same thing in your Christian walk where you're dealing with somebody, you're dealing with a problem, you're struggling with something, and a Christian obviously, has a remedy to your solution, as if you never even noticed it before. And they refuse to see where you're coming from. So that's just something that has really bothered me in my past. Maybe you've dealt with the same thing yourself. So I wanted to share that with you.